Hi everyone, and welcome to Tech Tuesdays on Glitch 2600, where we're here to answer your tech questions and mess with my camera, it looks like. So I'm going to do a quick conversion over here to the iPad. Maybe show you guys a little bit of what you can find on our page. So I'm going to bring that up. We're going to bring up Glitch while I fix that small problem. Because even when we go live, we have problems. That's going to happen. It's technology. And based on the stuff that I'm using, it only makes sense, that we're going to run into those things. So here, let's bring that up. And just wanted to show you guys, kind of what you can see when you come here. We got different spotlights, obviously showing right now. And then you can get our glitch bits and bytes. There we go. We got that fixed, so it's not trying to record a bunch of stuff. And then our popular posts. And then you can see what's coming and what's posted on there. Actually, probably see it a little bit differently if I actually show it how it looks for you guys. So as following, you kind of see this feature to welcome where we explain a little bit more of what's going on, and the show itself. And then our glitch bites where we talk about right now it's our League of Legends, but those are our more in-depth, coverings that we do when we talk about technology. So they're not always games. We do have an in-house gaming expert, but sometimes it is about maybe what's your, deep dive into wireless routers and what's the right one and what you would need, what's Wi-Fi 6, what's a mesh, all of that fun stuff. And then bits, which we don't have up there yet, are our little bite-sized version of that. So instead of being anywhere from 20 minutes plus for the bytes, these are more your anywhere from 2 minutes to maybe 10 minutes, quick bit of technology info. And then, of course, you'll find our GH2 right there, our happy hour. So Glitch Happy Hour squared there, or H2, if I can speak today. And that's where we cover our craft beers and wine and cider and mead and all that fun stuff. And that's just a good time. You can still ask those tech questions, but that's our time where we get to do many other fun things. So I'm going to go ahead and go back and say hi to you guys. So again, I'm Glitch, and I'll be your host tonight, or today, what time you're catching it. If you're catching this on the replay, whichever way. And I'm just a geek. So if you have computer questions, geek questions, photography questions, videography, you want to know about this stuff, in live streaming, then this is the place and you're in the right area. And that's Tech Tuesdays, sometimes Thursdays. We're toying around with the idea, and I'd love to know you guys' opinion. used to have a show or used to have a TV, channel called Tech TV, and that no longer exists. So part of me is wondering, so we're not stuck to Tech Tuesdays or Tech Thursdays or ones that start with T, we could do our Tech TV. So our bits and bytes would still be that deep dive, and Tech TV is just our Q&A time. What do you think? If you got a better name, got a better idea, post it through. Let us know, because it doesn't hurt. We take any type of feedback. We're still growing the show, so we're not stuck on anything that we have there. If you don't think GH squared is fun for our happy hour, let us know that too. We're still working on eventually getting a logo and all the fun stuff and really increasing the production. You can tell we've got the lights going. We still haven't got the soft boxes in, so at which point we'll cover what the difference between softbox, but really you should be able to tell at that point. You'll go back to old videos, come to this one, notice I'm maybe not so shiny. Right now we're using a little bit of the overhead lights to give us a little bit of that hair light, but that's my photography background just coming into play. But if you have those questions, if you have suggestions for us, please let us know. Again, GH2 is our happy hour one. Debating on switching our Q&A time to Tech TV. It could be our GTV, for glitch TV. I don't know. We'll come up with it. I don't know. It could be GT squared. I don't know. I'm way overthinking it. That's what us engineers do. So if you're out there, of course, say hi. Love to know that you're there. If you've got that tech question, please let us know. And otherwise we'll dive into it. And I've got technology stuff around, so if no one wants to ask questions, we could just talk different technologies and different fun things, and different topics in general. So again, it's whatever you guys want to talk on. One of the things that kind of came up this week that was a question is why every time someone wants to subscribe on YouTube, which, fun little reminder, you can subscribe to us on YouTube, and we would love that. So at any point, feel free to subscribe to us on YouTube by using that link, or hover over the QR code with your camera, and it will go, hey, do you want to follow them on Facebook? And you go, yes, I do. And you can follow us there. Otherwise, you can definitely follow us on Facebook if you're watching us on YouTube. Eventually, we will be simulcasting, and you'll be able to see it on both. It's just whether we felt like dealing with it yet. We're still working out the kinks, so why make it hard if we don't have to, is what I think. But the question was, when I go to follow on YouTube or do these other ones, why is it asking me for a Google login? Well, one, YouTube is Google. Google owns YouTube, vice versa. Well, not vice versa. Google is YouTube. And so any of those services, it's not going to know who you are each time you come back if you don't have an account. So it wants to know that this is the account you want to save stuff under. Now, if you have Gmail, if you have an email account that ends in Gmail, you already have a Google account. Otherwise, other people can get your own domains under what they call Google Apps or GApps. My domain is under GApps or my sites that I own. So with that, I technically have managed Gmail or managed Google accounts. Those ones can still be used to sign up for YouTube and those different Google-enabled sites, per se. Now, there's other places where it will ask you, do you want to use your Google sign-in or your Facebook sign-in? And that's just to simplify the login process. I have mixed feelings on that from a security point of view. It's not bad. It's one way for it to share. You're not necessarily having to do stuff with the password. But when you're sharing the Facebook ones, you are giving them access to post to your Facebook, so you got to watch those security settings. Same thing for Google. It'll say, hey, now they can get this info about you. And that's where you can decide maybe you don't want to give them quite as much, and normally you can kind of change those settings during it. Obviously, they'll need your email and your first name if you're making a login, because pretty much everything's based off login. The Apple one that's come out is a little bit different when you can use Apple to log in. It's using a slightly different technology, but it's not very widely seen yet. So like I said, when you're signing up for stuff like that, if you have a Gmail account, you have a Google, and that's what it wants to know to subscribe to keep that bookmark saved, and then to know where to contact you, let you know, hey, they've got new content. That's what you can do here. If Google Voice, same type of stuff. Google owns a bunch of companies, so there's a good chance you might not have even known something like YouTube is owned by Google. You know, kind of like knowing that Pizza Hut and Pepsi are affiliated. At least I think it's that one. It might be Coke. Pretty sure it's Pepsi. If you know, feel free to let me know. But and if you're new out there, please say hi. We'd love to know you're out there, see where you're at. And if you have those tech or geek questions, now's the time to ask. You can essentially save yourself a trip to Best Buy, save yourself, and hopefully not necessarily a better trained technician. I'd like to think I am. I've been an engineer for, well, my entire life. If you ask my mother, I've been taking apart everything from TVs to microwaves to computers since I could hold a screwdriver. So if you have a geek question, I'll answer them for you. You don't have to pay someone then, which saves you some money. But one fun, crazy thing that we learned today, well, and we'll say, hi, Mom. Since Mom popped on, obviously, if you know anyone, feel free to pop them on there and let them know. If you have friends that want to know or have questions, pop them on. But one fun thing we learned today is for business people, if you have Facebook for business, there seems to be, and I'm still working out the stuff for it, if you have a page and want to go live to it, a lot of the documentation out there says use the Pages app. Well, we know if you want to try live streaming like this, it doesn't work to go to the business page if you use the Pages app. Facebook kind of killed that out. I don't know when it's coming back, but you just don't see it there. So you have to use the actual Facebook app. Well, if you sign up for their business, which you'll see business.facebook.com, you can still have a business page, but if you sign up for their business manager is what they call. We found, one, it hides them sometimes from being an admin on their page, which means when they go to it, to view the page, it changes the view and it takes away the live button, unless you're on a computer. So if you're on an iPhone and want to live stream, it takes it away and you have to use something else. It's just a little hack. So if you're ever using an iPhone and trying to stream to your page and you can't find it and you've boosted an ad, maybe check to see if you signed up for that business manager, in which case there's other options for it. You can get a GoPro and stream through their app because it's not managed that way. You can use a computer and link it if you want. You can save it and then you can do what they call a sim live or simulated live. That's where you record and then post it out there. But sometimes Facebook doesn't really like that. If you can avoid it, they say if you're live, you should be live. If you did that, it's better to record and then do a live with it. So in other words, like a watch party or a premiere where you post your video and then you're there to talk to it. And you can use a piece of software like Ecamm if you're on a Mac, or vMix if you're on a PC, or OBS is another popular one. I didn't find OBS to be it's great and it's powerful. It's just complicated. And if you want to get up and going with less technical, then Ecamm has a ton of power if you're on a Mac. And vMix, I only hear good things about that for the PC side. So just something to kind of think on it and work through. But found that to be an interesting little issue, that if you get that business manager, I'm still experimenting with it, trying to help some friends that did it. They had one business that they didn't sign up that for, and then another one that they did. And they just couldn't go live when they wanted to say, hey, our restaurant is opening today. We're opening back up. So they wanted to give a little tour and it just wouldn't allow them to go live. Now, we figured out that if you're really sneaky, you can take the URL, which is the link across the top. If you click right when you get ready to go live, you can go click on it and it'll say business.facebook.com/your page name/videos, I think, or something like that. If you copy that, send it to yourself to your phone, and as long as you don't use Safari but download Google Chrome for your phone, then you could fake it and launch it through the web page instead of the app, and it'll let you do a live that way. It's a little complicated, but my other background is wanting to hack things into how I want them to work. So sometimes it's just finding the way around and getting done what you need to get done. So just something on it, I'm going to remind everyone that you can follow us on on YouTube or on Facebook. Click follow or like, or hover over that, and then it'll ask you if you want to with your smartphone camera, and it'll say, "Hey, do you want to follow this?" And say yeah, or if you want, ask question again. Like I said, we're doing that whole now pushing the kind of GH squared for our happy hour. If you don't think that's a cool idea, let us know if you think there's a better name. We're still doing the bits and bytes for the others, where the bits are the little small 2-minute, little 2 to maybe 5-minute bits of like how to turn on and off your AirDrop or different things like that on your phone, how to lock the orientation. And then our bytes where we deep dive into various topics, whether it's game ones for things like League of Legends or how to live stream or what's the right microphone or wireless, different things like that. There's that. And then this is our Tech Tuesday, but because we don't want to be locked to Tuesdays, we're still thinking about calling it Glitch Tech TV. And that's your Q&A time. If you have a better name, it could be Glitch Tech Q&A. If it looks good, we'll give it a shot. Let's just make it easy for everyone to follow us. We keep trying to make everything better. And then I hope you guys like the set. It's our bar. It's not always going to be barred to make it friendly. We might move stuff around. It's our kind of happy hour set. But you can see we have the ghost that's going to change color for fun, and our follow glitch. And then we're going to change up the lighting, and things are going to get just a little bit better. We have the Tetris light, which is a lot of fun because you can move stuff around on it, and it still lights up. And we're going to add more to the kind of setup as we do it. The various hot sauces. Big fan of the hot sauces. I like a lot of hot sauces, so there's some up there, and do the hedonist challenge for the most part. But love to see if anyone has any questions out there. If you have a tech question, we'll answer it. Otherwise, I'll keep rambling about tech in general for at least a little bit longer. And then as a reminder, if you catch us on the replay and you still have a tech question, or you have friends that have a tech question, just have them come to the Glitch page. Just do a search for Glitch 2600, just like it says over there. All one word. And you'll find us. Go ahead and follow it and like it, and send us a message and say, this is the question I have. And we'll post it, and if we answer it there, we'll let you know, which episode we answered it on. Additionally, you can post it on the video. We'll still find it. It tells us when someone's commented on it, and we'll answer those questions after or another time. We'll catch it to the next video and expand it, just like I kind of did a little bit earlier when there were questions from the other day. But, we can cover all different areas. It doesn't always have to be Mac. I am more Mac-centric, but I'm also a Microsoft certified systems engineer, a VMware certified photographer, lots of certifications. I spent way too much time messing with certifications, so security certified, CISP, SISM, all those ones, which is a bunch of fancy words to say I spent a lot of time taking tests and reading books. But also using it in the real world and showing that I can do what I say. But having said that, why don't we just cover some of the kind of fun gear that we have coming. So I'm going to slide over right to the side, grab this, because I didn't know. So we have some fun gear. So one, we got, like I said, soft boxes coming for the lights to make things a little bit better. They'll expand out and make things a little softer with control, because they have grids, so it'll stop some of the light spilling. So like this one here where it's a little bright, it's because I have a light right here. You can kind of tell because of my hand. And I'm going to be putting a modifier on that, which is fun because for the Ecamm network group, I'll be covering a little live hack on ways to do it without a softbox, which you would think would mean I would be doing that now, but because I know the softbox is coming so soon, I'm being lazy and not bouncing it off a bunch of cards. But that's one of the bits of tech. We also, right now, we live stream with a GoPro, which is why I had to mess with that at the beginning. It has a small bug where it seems to start recording when I'm told it not to record. So, and it's erratic, so fix that really quick. And I should let GoPro know and find out what's going on with that. But we'll figure that out. But I also use Canon products. So my 5D Mark III is a nice SLR camera, which means single lens reflex. It has a little mirror that flips up. So when you look through the viewfinder, it comes through the lens, bounces, and goes into what we call a pentaprism and back into your eye. That just means there's one of those. And when you go take a photo, it flips up and takes the photo. So it goes dark for a second on it. Video doesn't matter, but it just means it's a fancy camera. It's a fancy photographer camera that takes fancy lenses. Well, we can make that work with this setup we found. Well, we knew about, but we've made it better. So picked up something called a dummy battery, which is essential because batteries get hot. The GoPro doesn't have a battery in it. We're using the media mod coming off the back with power. And then a HDMI micro. It's important because it's very small. There's mini, micro, and regular HDMI. So this is an HDMI to micro setup coming into what we call a capture card, which is a cam link. We're looking at different ones for the future because I like cool toys. So like the ATEM Mini or the ATEM Mini Pro is something we're looking at, to expand and take in more inputs, because there's a thing with laptops and different things about how many inputs you can have at one time, which we'll get into. If you guys have questions on there, we'll get into it and why and how you can check your machine to see how many inputs you can do with the same card, like Elgato's Cam Link, which is a nice $136. If you see it for $200 and $300, it's because people are price gouging through this, the COVID stuff right now, and I don't really agree with that at all. So if that's the case, it's where you can do that. But then if you can only have one capture card, you have to have one by a different name. They don't enumerate like most USB devices do. So it'll just conflict and you'll get weirdness. But if you have two different names, then it'll work. Like I said, these aren't renameable in there, but you have stuff like the ATEM Mini or ATEM Mini Pro that can have 4 inputs and then 1 output. Looking at that, mouth watering over it. The more I do this, the more you guys watch. Maybe some point, someone who from Black Magic will want to sponsor, and they'll send it to me so I don't have to go buy it myself, which would make everyone happy. And then I'll review it and tell you guys how it's working. But one of the fun things we got I think it was yesterday, is we ordered one of these little fun HD camera monitor. And if you're new out there, say hi. We'd love to know you're out there. I see we have a few extra viewers or new viewers on there. If you have a question, please post it on. This is the tech Q&A time, so we can answer any of your computer questions. If we don't know the answer, I will track down and find it, and I will let you know after the show, or I'll post it on to the next one and get you that right answer. But most likely we'll be able to answer the question. But as we're talking about cool new gear, we got this little, screen. It doesn't look, but it is the size of my hand. It's just wide angle where it's like, this thing's huge. It's a widescreen TV. Which now you get a little hint of what my lights look like. If I get that just right. Blind everyone. But this is nice because these, when you're working with videography, there's something called a confidence monitor. And it's only means confidence because it boosts the speaker's confidence. So we can do something with the iPad that does this. But what it does is right now I can look down at my laptop screen and see stuff. And that's great when I can. But other times I could take this little camera or little thing, feed the stuff into it. And if I took it and put it above the camera up here, I could be looking at it and it looks more like I'm almost looking right at you, or I can put it right beside and be looking more at you and allow me to see without my laptop being there, which allows someone else to run my laptop. Maybe I have one of the kids, or I use something called a Stream Deck where I can tap things. That's why you see me down here once in a while, tap. And it allows me to switch views, and do fun stuff and go to the iPad or pop up my name. If I really wanted to, I can do that. All of that fun stuff. So we'll flip back. So the nice thing about this is we can pop it in there and I can see comments easier instead of having to look down and then play with that. So that's a fun new thing. We can also use it on a GoPro for vlogging. Now what's funny is the GoPro is yay big, and this thing would end up being bigger than the GoPro, but I can also put it at someone's table. So let's say I was for stuff like Wine Styles, where we do that virtual live. We can post this here and put it down on the table and kind of just out of view, and they can glance. Or they can see if I pop something up, they can see that I pop something up on their screen while I drive the other. So that's a nice fun little, and it can take batteries. What's fun is that these have replaceable battery plates. So this one's for the Sony. If I go Sony at any point, that's good. But otherwise, they can take Canon ones, I found out. What's really nice about this one, this is from a company called Feel World, and they're cheap. I mean, it's $100 for this one, for the 7-inch one. There is other ones, and there's metal instead of plastic, but they come with quite a bit. So I didn't show you on the side. It can take HDMI in. It has a little speaker, so you can hear stuff out of it, or hear. We can take HDMI in, power. You can USB control, and it's got all these buttons to check focus too. So if I'm running it like a production camera, I can see that stuff and hit check focus, and it'll show me using red what's in focus and what's not. And that's pretty neat. I really like that. But it comes with some other fun toys. So it comes with a thing called a sunshade. So it'll sit over it. It opens up. It has a little shelf, and it'll block the sun so you can see it outside. It comes with a little cable and a little thing that's kind of like this. It's on a ball instead. And you can just screw in there, and then you can adjust it. So it's got that type of stuff. And all of that for $100. The next model up can have both in and out. So what's neat about that? So right now my laptop has one HDMI out. I can put it in there, and then that's coming out to it. It's controlling it with one. If I had two of these, one, I could connect it to another camera, have it coming off, going in there, or if it's got an in and out, I can daisy chain two together so I can have a little mini, because HDMI can do that. I can have one thing on one screen, one thing on another, like two different monitors. And that's pretty neat, because it allows you to have one that's checking focus, one that's doing something else. So it's pretty powerful, and I'm liking that. So that's the fun new toy. Of course, bought a little power supply for it, a nice DC one. But that's some of the fun, cool new tech that we're trying to integrate to make things just a little bit better each time. So we keep trying to invest and make better. At least we can't say it wasn't the technology that failed. It was only me. If it goes any bit south, that's one fun thing for it. But yeah, this one's by a company called Feel World. This is the FW759. They do make a 5-inch one, so if you're going to do vlogging, that's pretty nice. Keep in mind when you first power it up and plug it in, it gets a little white around the edges because it's a little cheaper LCD. But it actually gets pretty good quality. This one takes 4K feed, but it doesn't have to in 4K, for anyone who's wondering. So the original HD was 720p or I for interlaced or not. And that was it. That was 720. Then it went up to 1080, was their Super HD or HD. And then when we went beyond that, pretty much 4K is 1080 times 4, for the most part. It's actually not quite that. It's the size, but imagine if you had that many more pixel density. That's what 4K generally is. So it's just more detail, more pixels per inch. At 1080, a lot of people go, well, if you look at a screen like this one and across the top, you're thinking, well, it's 1080. If it was inches, it would be that. No, it's actually from top to bottom. You notice how this is wide versus the kind of narrow. It's kind of picture box. It's what we call a 16:9 ratio, 16 across by 9 down. So a 1080 is actually 1080 by 920. The next one down is 1280 by 720. And don't think I did any fancy math there. It is a 16:9 ratio, but it's just because I happen to be looking at that stuff today. So that's how I remember. Not because, well, it's not that I don't know math. I just didn't do any fancy math on the fly like my middle kid can do. So that's the kind of fun tech toys. I can tell you more about what we're using for broadcast, from a microphone point of view. If you like the sound, there's some stuff I can do to make this a little bit better. We have very short ceilings. In fact, right now, you can kind of see it in here. If I reach back, you can kind of see the ceiling, and almost pretty short. So that's why we're getting some of the echo that we probably experience right here. I could do some stuff to kind of stop that. And that'll be as we continue the show. I can put a little shell around the microphone. I can bring it in, hang it upside down, put something that's called a shock mount on it, which just basically puts the microphone in a set of rubber bands so that any movement, stuff around, doesn't get, you don't get the vibration in there. Because right now, if I hit the mic, you can probably hear just a little bit as I do it. But the closer I get this, it's the type of microphone, it's what we call front addressing. The closer I get it, the more it'll pick up just me and less of this echo that you probably get a little bit in here. I don't know. I'll have to check it on the replay. Just as I'm noticing the audio in here, I might have to mess with that because, one, we like the set. If you want something different in the set, you think something cool, let us know because we're still expanding. We're big fans of Nightmare Before Christmas, so you'll see some of that back there, along with, like I said, the hot sauces, which if you have not had some of this, just to show you, for one. We have a few of this one called The Last Dab. And if you ever watch, do a search for Hot Ones, The Hot Ones. There's a show now for it that the kids are pretty adamant that I should be on because I've been basically eating jalapenos since I was not that far out of diapers, I think. Thanks to my grandpa. But they have another one called the Brain Burner that's extremely hot. But this one is an 11 out of 10. I think we have a 15 out of 10 out there. This one might be considered, or if you put them together, they're extremely high. I mean, so much so you don't even have to refrigerate these ones after. But really good sauce. You can get it on hedonist.com. You can sign up for their delivery and they'll just keep sending them to you, which is why I have. That goes back like 3-4 rows and it's 8 across just because I really like hot sauce. But yeah, this hot sauce, especially the Last Dab, little known trick. Now that I'm going to tell you different ways to have the hot sauce to make it easy. I mean, you can have milk. Hot sauces are what we call, the capsaicin is hydrophobic most of the time. So that means you think it's going to get better as you drink water, but it's really not because it's hydrophobic. It's temporary relief because it doesn't really do much for it. But milk is not necessarily water, and that's why people have milk. And that will help. So the hotter it is, if you're really in there, something that more coats. But one of my favorite tricks isn't that plays it down. Not at all. I found when you have hot stuff with capsaicin, instead, get some chocolate. Milk chocolate is great. Dark chocolate does just as well and is better for you, because of the sugar not having as much. But it will make those candies taste so much better. So if you have a chance to have jalapeno chips, do that and then follow it with a Snickers. It'll be the best Snickers you've ever tasted. Same thing with these. You have hot wings. Follow it up with a little bit of chocolate cake or a little small piece of chocolate then, so that it's not so bad. And it will, that's pretty good. But yeah, I love this stuff. This is the Brain Burner. It's extremely hot. And so good. So good. I might have to put this on my food tonight. Really good on eggs too. It'll burn you through. There's another one called the Classic or Classico, I think. And that one, really good. But they definitely have some heat to them. The Last Dab will. If you watch the show, you'll see why they end with that one. They bring on different people and interview them, like Jeff Goldblum and different celebrities, and bring them through and interview and ask them questions during it. The game show is much the same way. It's just with people, and you can win $10,000 or $25,000. That's why the kids think, but you have to have a teammate, which means whoever you're with also has to have an equal amount of staying power when it comes to hot wings and cleaning the wing and handling that hot sauce that they make on the fly. So I think I have a partner for it. You just have to catch the happy hour, and you can see who my partner is. But I'm still working on the training, although doing a fair amount of hot sauces lately. So really, if you guys have any tech questions out there, I don't always have to, the hot sauce conversation is probably better for our happy hour. But I figured I'd give people a little bit more time in case they wanted to ask questions, just to make that time available. And while I'm geeking out anyway, talking to myself, I figured might as well. Yeah. But again, I want to remind everyone to, one, who I am. So just a reminder, I'm Glitch, aka Brian, aka Glitch. And I also want to remind you that you can subscribe to us on YouTube or hover over that QR code, and that will allow you to, your phone will pick it up and go, hey, do you want to go there? And click subscribe. Yes, you do. At some point, we might even just do some exclusive content just on YouTube. If you would like that, let us know. If that's your preferred method of us talking to you, then let us know that too, because right now we primarily go to Facebook and then upload to YouTube. And like I said, eventually we'll be multicasting, but it never hurts to know. But then also, if you're on YouTube, come find us on Facebook. It's just Glitch 2600. You can see the spelling back there. It's not that hard. And we'd love to answer your tech and geekery questions. We like to talk about drones. Heck, I know people who know robotics. We can talk security. What's the best, settings? What's, why does your business make you set a password that's so long? Why you shouldn't use the same password on every single site? That's just not bad topics to talk on that we could talk into. Different password managers. In fact, I should do a small mini bit one on my favorite, which is 1Password, the number 1password.com. And you can get a family one where you can put multiple people on and have a shared set of passwords, but then each one can have their own little password vault. What's nice about that, without going into too far detail when it comes to tech and passwords, the reason why you want to have different ones on each site are because some of the big hacks that have been out there isn't because Apple necessarily got hacked. It's because LinkedIn got hacked or something else got hacked 6 months before, and because people use the same passwords on all sorts of stuff, they went and tried that username and password on another site, and that is essentially what got them in. So they got into the iCloud ones back before there was a whole lot of two-factor verification, to go and said, hey, they're just reusing the same email address and password on iCloud. And that's how some people got their pictures exposed, because they're LinkedIn or when the other ones got hacked and no one changed their password, or they use the same, or it's a pattern. Now, there's other ways with passwords and different things you should do. 1Password can come up with a phrase. A phrase is one of the most powerful random numbers and letters, but who's going to remember 16 random numbers and letters? From a Microsoft point of view, your password should be at least 15 characters or longer. Not because you want to sit there and type a super long password, but because of something called pass the hash, which we can go into a whole bunch of detail, but it basically means someone can steal not your actual password, but the hashed out or encrypted version of your password, so they can't even read it, and pass it through and get to it. And that breaks when you have above 14 characters, because that's just how it's built. That's the math to it. So when you do that, you can type a password that's 15 characters, that random numbers, letters, all sorts of stuff, and it can have a pretty high, what we call, entropy for it. and make it harder to hack. But actually, a phrase is even better. If you said "I like sausage pizza" and type that in as a password, and put a number or exclamation point or misspell a letter, it's almost impossible for a password cracker to guess that. If a computer would, or to use something called a rainbow table, because it doesn't expect that to be put together. It doesn't expect that, phrase. And so when you put phrase in there, I like even just 3 random stuff. If I was to sit here at my pseudo desk and go black sauce and cable, you'd have to know my GoPro is black because I'm looking at it and that's there. That I'm looking at hot sauce and shows sauce and not hot or some other thing there, capsaicin. And then I looked at a cable over here and decided that there was a cable and remembered it. So when you're at a work desk or anything like that, when you can do that and they have to be in your environment to know and to remind it, that's it. I will tell you the FBI also says for passwords that you shouldn't change it as often. Now, businesses and some of those other ones, or some of the auditors out there, when it comes to business, say, well, tough luck, you got to change it every so often because that's our rules. It doesn't mean that it's right. It just means they haven't updated their rules. So auditors, let's think about changing those rules. But there's a reason for it, is the more frequently you change your password, if it hasn't been hacked, it probably doesn't need to be changed. It's probably already secure. If you have not had a breach and you're not reusing the same password everywhere, or if you have a very secure password and it's never been out, why change to something that is maybe easier guessed or hacked? But on top of that, they don't want you to change it very often, and that you should only change it when you know there's been a breach, is what they say. I think a little bit more frequently, every 6 months, every year. It doesn't hurt to change it if you can. Because the reason they say don't change it every 60 days or every 90 days, like some businesses do, is because people fall into patterns. They'll go, hey, it's summer 2020 or spring 2020, and then the next password's going to be summer 2020. I wonder if the one after that might be fall 2020, or it's their kid's birthday 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all that on the end. So by changing it less frequently, people have a tendency to pick new and unique passwords, is what they found. And like I said, if it hasn't been breached, then why change it? So just a little thing on passwords. We can go deeper if anyone wants that. If anyone wants to see and understand how 1Password works, let me know. I'll make a whole video on it. And that'll be one of our glitch bites. We have a second one coming out for YouTube. If you're on Facebook, you can already see it. We had a small technical difficulty and we're editing the video back together for uploading to YouTube. But in the meantime, you can see it on Facebook if you'd like. But if no one has any tech questions, I have dinner to make with hot sauce and a tech paper to write. So I won't keep you guys or hold you hostage. We've talked about enough geek stuff for tonight with your Q&A. Again, though, reminder, if you didn't catch it tonight, that's okay. You can still ask questions. You don't have to wait till Tech Tuesday to do it. Just pop on, ask those tech questions, through our page, through our Facebook, through our YouTube, send a message. We'll post it into the next Tech Tuesday and let you know when it is. Find a past video, pop it on there. It's probably easier just to message us, but let us know, and we'll turn around and try to answer that on there, or we'll just build it in. If you want to be anonymous on there and don't want even to say it was you and that, just let us know that, and we'll keep it quiet, especially if you posted it separately. If you post it live and you still don't want to be known as the person who posted it, still put a Q in front when you ask those questions, just so we know it's a question if you post on a live. But you can just say Q and then like not public, a Q space NP, not public, anything like that, so we know, and we'll just answer the question. We won't post your picture on, much like when I do this and say, when my mom said yum yum for the food, because it is hot sauce and turkey and all that. It's going to be pretty yummy, and I'm looking forward to that. or unless Yum Yum is to the paper I'm writing, which I can't imagine. But again, welcome and thank you for coming out. Don't forget to ask those questions. Don't forget to follow us. We're going to keep doing this. If there's days and times that work better for you, let us know. Yeah. I'm glad the Dropbox part worked. We kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, or I talked with someone on it. We have a past episode where we kind of mentioned some ways around that too. But again, thanks for joining us tonight. And again, let us know those questions and like and comment. If you have suggestions for the show, if you catch earlier and saw where we were talking about the names, and you have suggestions for different parts for the names or things we should change, we're open to it right now. So again, thank you. Talk to you guys later and have a good night.